This is Gilbert America This Week, a look back at last week's Gilbert Indians football action and a look ahead to tomorrow night. Presented on Carolina's Community Radio by the Twin City News, Batesburg, Leesville's hometown news source since 1925. And Gilbert Coin Exchange, located on the Augusta Highway in the shops at Gilbert. Now, here with Indians coach CHAD LEAPHART is the editor of the Twin City News, Tony Bauman.
Welcome into this edition of Gilbert America This Week. I'm Tony Bauman, editor of the Twin City News, and getting ready for another high school football Friday night. Steve Smith and I had a great time last Friday, the home opener over at Gilbert America. It was just it was an unbelievable atmosphere, an unbelievable night, and no reason for anybody who's an Indian fan to walk out of there with a frown on their face, that's for sure. And with me right now is the coach of the Gilbert Indians, CHAD LEAPHART. Coach, thank you so much for being back on the Coach's Show this week.
Oh, it's great to be here, Tony. We're just glad to, we got to play in a great atmosphere, play at home. Our kids got to play at home last week, and it was really a great game for all our folks. And, I'm looking forward to this coming week here.
Well, and last week, we'll go ahead and jump right into last week's game. Last week's was quite the adventure from I think the first play all the way to the last, where it was a fait accompli about the middle of the third quarter. But we said it last week. We'll say it again this week. This was in large part. At least Colton Mason was at least a major player in this event this week.
Oh, absolutely. Colton ran the ball really hard for us Friday night. Finished up with 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, that stat line really tells the story. But I want to give a shout out to them big guys up in front of him. I thought our offensive line did a great job. Friday night, they really improved from the week before and really opened some things up for Colton and a couple of our other guys there too. But we got 4 seniors on that line. There's Bryce Smith at left tackle and Carson Harmon at left guard, TJ Freeman at center, Sam Felkel at right guard. Those guys are all seniors, and we do have one sophomore there, Blake Cook, at right tackle. But those guys, along with our tight ends and stuff, did a great job.
Well, it's a cliche, but there is no I in team. Yes, there are some major players left. Yes, there are people who rise to the top and rise to the occasion and excel like Colton did. But you're exactly right. What we saw Friday night was just a total team effort. This was a Gilbert team that after a week, they looked like they were really gelling. Is that your assessment of this team, that they are starting to really sort of coalesce into what they can be?
Yeah, we're figuring things out a lot here with what our guys are able to do and do well. But, there's an old saying in coaching that, the most improvement that's ever made is between that first game and the second game. And I felt like that was very true this year, especially with the guys that we have. It was a big jump. That a lot of our kids made on both sides of the football, as far as where they were the week before to where they were this week. And that makes you proud as a coach, to see that kind of improvement with a group of guys from one week to the next. But big jump from week 1 to week 2 for us.
Well, it looked like you might have had an issue or two, and this again could be the level of play that you've had by this time in the season versus this most unusual season. It did look like you had some issue with penalties and kind of shooting yourself in the foot a couple of times over there.
We probably did set a record for holding penalties. We had probably, I think, 5 or 6 of those in the course of one game. Now, I'd still, even after looking at film, I disagree strongly with about 4 of those 6. But it is what it is, and so we got called on it. We got to get better with that. A lot of it's guys moving their feet more to keep themselves in better body position, so they're not reaching or grabbing. But also the thing about it is that we had, for instance, our first drive, we had 2 major penalties on our first drive of the game. It was 15 plays, 81 yards.
Yep.
we had to overcome 2 major penalties and still put 7 points on the board against, a team that was right at the beginning. They were fresh. They were fired up. They were even lined up in a different defense than what they had showed on film. So that first drive, the adversity, the different defense, the penalties, just the nature of it, just, again, going back to just real proud of how our guys overcame a lot of that on that first drive just to set the tone for tonight.
Well, and that shows that they're working together as a team, because you had some struggles, you had some troubles with those penalties, but they righted the ship, and not only did they right the ship, they just pushed it right through the ice. To be perfectly honest, it was a great night. Now, we talked about Colton Mason, of course, who I don't blame you at all for your department for campaigning for him to be Player of the Week, because he certainly earned it, to be sure. Any accolade that he might get like that, he surely earned it. But I also saw some diversity in the offense as well. I mean, you've got Isaiah Whiteside taking it in. Noah Faulkner got some catches in there, and so some of these younger players, some of these sort of perhaps even less experienced players, have started to get some playing time and starting to actually produce for the Gilbert program.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that we want to grow a little bit each week too, is kind of the offense outside of Colton, and that's being able to throw and catch the ball a little more on some things, and adding, Isaiah, he adding him to the run game, and that kind of thing. He made some good runs for us, and like you said, scored one for us. Kendrick Mitchell put 6 points on the board for us, kind of a little change of pace back, this a little bit different style than Colton, and I thought they kind of went well together, mixing that up a little bit, Friday night. And then again, just like I said, I mean, just trying to get a little better each week in our passing game and expanding that. Noah Faulkner, led us in receiving the other night, and really had a good game, snagging some balls and getting some yards after the catch. And we got some other guys there too, just ready to, and we're ready for them to step up and make some more plays for us there too.
Well, you certainly don't get a 43-0 shutout without saying something about the defense. I mean, that defense stepped up, and pretty much everything that Fox Creek brought at it, they shut it down.
Yeah, those guys did a great job. I mean, awful proud of our defensive players, and then also our defensive staff for putting together a game plan and getting guys in the right position to be successful on that side of the ball, and then making some adjustments during the course of the game. They really had a great plan. And probably the guy that saved our shutout, we got to give him a shout out, Alex Dinkins. Number 35. But first of all, he was all over the place Friday night making plays for us. And but they had that big wild play at the end of the first half where it's kind of probably a Hail Mary situation, and it didn't work out. And the quarterback just takes off running, and we're all dropped back all over the place in coverage. So he's got all kind of green grass to run, and he was a good athlete, so he was making some of our guys miss, and next thing you know, it looked like he was going to score a dang touchdown from about 40 or 50 yards out. Alex Dinkins came in and grabbed him at about the 3-yard line and saved us a touchdown there. And then, of course, time was out, so that was a huge play. If they had scored there, that would have given them, a lot of momentum going into the second half. So, but that shut all that down. Just a great effort play by Alex Dinkins.
That might have been, I got to say, that might have been the play of the game in my estimation. You want to talk about it being, a defensive play. Yeah, that might have been the play of the game. I know it was the one of a couple that brought Steve Smith out of his seat, because we're watching that. We're going, oh my goodness, they're going to score. They're going to break the shot. No, it didn't happen. And Dinkins Dinkins rose to the occasion. No question about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, also on that side of the ball, that's where we have a few seniors returning from last year. That guys like Jarrett Kaysen, who's been in a lot of battles. This is his third-year starter. He played great at defensive end for us. LP Snellen was a senior, had a bunch of tackles for us at middle linebacker, number 30. And then Sean Spencer, one of our other defensive ends, another guy that's got some experience. I think some of that experience from those guys certainly helped out as well.
Well, it was a great showing last Friday night. Everybody come out healthy on that one?
We did. We maybe some bumps and bruises, but nothing that's keeping anybody out. So
well, you better
fortunate for that.
You better be ready for the next couple of weeks. That's for sure, because the water only gets a little deeper starting this Friday night, and certainly moving through next Friday. We'll take a pause, and when we come back, we'll take a look forward. I know Coach will say we'll take a look forward to Friday night, but I'm a journalist. I got to ask about what's happening in a couple weeks too. But we'll do that when Gilbert America This Week continues on Carolina's Community Radio.
Gilbert Coin Exchange, paying you top dollar for your coins, precious metals, and old jewelry. Named Lexington Life's best coin shop and best place to sell your scrap gold for the last 10 years. Don't forget, Gilbert Coin Exchange also sells coins, gold, and silver bullion. Proud sponsor of the Coins for A's program. Visit GilbertCoins.com online or stop in and see them at 4079 Augusta Highway in the Shops at Gilbert. Gilbert Coin Exchange, proud sponsor and supporter of Gilbert Athletics.
Back on Carolina's Community Radio with Gilbert America This Week. Tony Ballman along with the coach of the Gilbert Indians, CHAD LEAPHART. And Coach, now you're 2-0, and I think it's kind of safe to say you're in the catbird seat in the region race right now.
We're in a good position. We two games, 2 wins. Definitely where we want to be at this point. And but we got 2 big weeks here coming up, and of course starting off with this week with Brookland-Cayce. It's going to be a huge game for region implications.
Well, thankfully you are back at home in Tomahawk Stadium this week. So you've got a big game. Well, every game is big, but you've got this game that has so much more implications attached to it that you get to play at home. Now, it's not homecoming, right? Things have changed about it. So the distractions of homecoming really aren't going to play so much into things this coming Friday night. As much as we love homecoming, let's admit it, homecoming can be a bit of distraction when you're trying to win football games.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on that week. So, it's we pushed that back a couple weeks. It'll be on the 23rd. Plus, we had senior night right off the bat, and then having homecoming right after that. It's already crazy these days trying to we selling tickets at the office out here, and it's every day, and it's only this many, that many, and it's just a lot of stuff going on. So it was just easier to push that back a couple more weeks, and then that also, like you say, I mean that allows for more focus for our guys this week on our opponent, which is very important, and that's Brookland-Cayce.
And that is generally speaking is an intimidating opponent, but they are coming off of a loss last week. I can only imagine that's going to make Sharpie and company a little bit hungrier this week coming into Gilbert America.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they got their backs up against the wall. I mean, if they lose to us, then they're probably out of the playoffs the way things are this year. So it's they're going to have their backs against the wall probably mentality. So it's going to make them a much tougher and even more dangerous opponent than normal, and they're already dangerous enough. So it's going to be a tough game for sure. Well,
and you have an Indians team there that has waltzed the last couple of weeks. You've got Brookland-Cayce that lost last week to Strom Thurmond in a close one. I mean, that was a slugfest as I go back and I look at it, the way that things worked out for those two teams. But are you concerned about complacency this week with your team, having had not much problem with Orangeburg, Wilkinson, and Fox Creek, knowing what you got coming to town this week?
Well, I don't think we have to worry about our guys being complacent. They know what's the task at hand. Brookland-Cayce is a top program. They've been so for years now. Some of our older guys do remember from a few years ago when we played our games with them in 2017 and 16, and those were big-time football games with big-time atmospheres that basically both of those games that year really determined the region champion. And that our guys, maybe some of our freshmen and sophomores might not get it, but our old guys do. And so I feel like they know what's at stake this week. They know what they're up against, and so they'll be ready.
You and me, I got gray at my temple. You got gray at your cheeks. I love it that you say these 16 and 17-year-olds are old guys. Okay,
it's all relative, isn't it?
It is all relative, my man. It's all relative. But bro, how do you prepare for a team like Brookland-Cayce, because they are tough and they win football games.
Yep, I mean they win 9, 10, 11 games a year. Coach Sharpie does a great job with them. They're explosive on offense. We go have to limit big plays. They put a lot of points on the board, even against Strom Thurmond last week, whereas, they hitting them for big plays, 40, 50-plus yards.
Yeah.
They got a group of talented receivers. They actually roll in 2 quarterbacks during the course of the game, and both of them throw a good footballs, and they got good guys to throw it to. And then probably the biggest thing is their running back, Will Way. He's a special running back, special athlete back there that they hand the ball off to. And he can take the ball the distance from anywhere on the field. I mean, he can go 99 yards. He's so they really are loaded with some weapons on the offensive side of the ball. So our defense, of course, has a big challenge this week to contain and slow all that down. And so big challenge there. Offensively, we got to control the football. We got to keep their play defense by good offense, and keep their offense over there on the sideline with Coach Sharpie. Let them all stand with him the whole night, and then that really is a big part of our game plan. We want to be able to kind of do what we do, and that's go tempo and run the football.
Well, and you certainly cannot overlook the implications of this. You said that Brookland-Cayce has their back up against the wall. Heaven forbid we get to the end of a football Friday night in Gilbert, America, and you find yourself and the Indians with your back up against the wall. You'll have one loss, but if that happens, but you'll go into sort of a do or die type situation at that point next week.
Yeah, that's the way this is. With everybody, top 2 teams out of region make the playoffs. It really does at this point become do or die for folks. So if we beat them, then we probably guarantee ourselves a spot in the playoffs. If they beat us, our backs are up against the wall the next week against Strom Thurmond. That's an absolute must win if we lose this week.
Absolutely.
Just by the way everything works out. And, we could even have a crazy 3-way tie that one pretty good football team could be sitting home in the playoffs between us, Strom Thurmond, and Brookland-Cayce. We've all talked about that, Coach Hillary, Coach Sharpie, and myself, it is the way it is this year. But, we've been 3 pretty good football programs for the last 4 or 5 years now, and all of us have made noise in the playoffs every year. But one of us won't get the chance to do that this year. So that puts more pressure in these games here this week and next for us.
Well, indeed. I mean, you talk about every game matters. I think when you're talking about that possibility of a 3-way tie for who's going to get in the playoffs, every touchdown matters at that point.
Yep, absolutely. I think the tiebreaker in our region is point differential between the tied opponents.
Yeah.
So, and so right now you got, I guess, Strom Thurmond's plus 14 is what that ended up being with Brookland-Cayce, and BC's minus 14. And, of course, then we got to play our game, and then, of course, there'll be our game with Strom Thurmond too. If all of it ends up in a tie, that's how it will all play out.
And how big is a win over Brookland-Cayce for you guys on Friday night?
Well, it's a lot of our guys, because of COVID this year, we've missed out on playing Lexington, we've missed out on playing Pillion, we missed out now on playing Batesburg-Leesville. Those are all big rival games that we're just not getting. Our kids love those games, and so we look. I'm sorry we're missing out on them, but we got Brookland-Cayce this week, and they're not far away from us, and we haven't played them in 2 years. But if you remember, that was a pretty big rival game too when we were playing one another, 4 and 5 years ago, and so. So that's kind of one way I'm selling it, and of course just the importance of it with, making the playoffs, and that's what I was alluding to. I mean, a win, not only would a win, you're in the catbird seat now, but I think a win would certainly put you in position
go back to familiar territory next
Mm-hmm.
week over at Strom Thurmond for a game that essentially would be the region championship game.
Yeah, if we can get the win Friday night, we'll, for the most part, we'll lock up or certainly be in the driver's seat for playoff berth, and it certainly turned that Strom Thurmond game into a massive game, a region championship type football game for sure.
No question about it. And so you talked about this. It's going to be ball control for you on Friday night. How do you get your team ready to play a team like Sharpie, who can break those big plays on you, who can put 36 points on the board and still lose a football game or whatever?
Yeah, it's a combination of, we got to have a great scheme and plan in place, but also mentality. For our kids, they got to have the right mentality in playing an opponent like that. There has to be an understanding that, in a football game, any football game, there's going to be peaks and valleys, and they're going to have their moments where they make some plays, and it's how we, respond to next play that matters, and how we come back and keep after them every play, regardless of what goes on. And so that's kind of our attitude is, we're going to fight you every play for every yard on the field. That's what we tell our guys. That's the way we play. So,
well, by the time this airs on Thursday night, there very likely will be some more news about COVID affecting other teams in the state and even in our area. How difficult is it for you to achieve cohesiveness and that type of thing, knowing that specter is ever present, that one mistake, one fumble, metaphorically, can shut down your program?
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot, it's and you can see it's happened to a lot of programs around us. So it's not far from my mind at all. Every day we think about it and keep our fingers crossed that everybody's good in our program, and hoping everybody stays safe. And we try to encourage all the safe and best practices. But even with a lot of that stuff, it's still some randomness, a lot of randomness to this as far as how people can catch it or impact people. And so we just, kind of moving along here and hoping for the best. And, and it's kind of sad to see some of these places, we can rattle off the names, right here in our district, we have Lexington, River Bluff, and Pillion, and we have Swansea down below us. And so it's, there's some folks right now that are shut down, and, and that's it's sad and disappointing, but the main thing is, of course, about keeping kids safe. And so that's what's got to come first.
Well, and folks will hear tomorrow night on the tailgate show. A little earlier this week, I had the opportunity to sit down with the athletic director for the district, David Bennett. Great guy. Love that. I mean, this is my first time interviewing him. What a great guy. And he wraps up the interview by saying that getting through this COVID-19 as an athletic program, as a community, is really about faith, attitude, and toughness.
Yeah. And,
faith, attitude, and toughness. Precautions, yes, take your precautions. You got the gator. I got my mask. But it really is the teams that will get through this, that will get through it unscathed. Faith, attitude, toughness, and doing the right thing.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. That's a combination. That's your best combination to go with right now for sure.
No question about it. And you couldn't tell it by the scoreboard, but 43-0 last week, big win over, or 2 weeks ago, big win over OW. And we talked about the COVID-19 and how, but it's not affecting your ability to create a cohesive program there at Gilbert. Yes, no?
No, I mean, we're still able to, go out there and practice, and a program is not something that's built in a day anyway. So we feel like, these kids that we have now that are even juniors and seniors, they've been in our program since they pretty much come through in middle school, and they've been around us since then, and they know our expectations. They know what we do on offense and defense. It's all been the same. They are very much a part of our program's culture and live it and do it and exemplify it. I mean, it's so, yeah, we've had some stops and starts like everybody has, and and dealt with some different things. But at the end of the day, those kids are still, part of this program, and they understand how this program operates, and they know what the expectations are. And so I think having our system in place for 4 years now, that we're going on 5 years now, that's a benefit that is playing well for us, because even though, think about some other teams that maybe that new coaches coming in and things like that, they haven't had any time this offseason to really grow what they're trying to do. Whereas, we don't necessarily have to do that right now, because our kids have been a part of it. They know what the program is. They know what we stand for. They know what we expect, and they know and then they know the plays and stuff. So it's, I guess that's probably one of the biggest factors that's led us to having some early success here is the fact that our program has been in place.
I think every single one of us that is wearing the gear, and I am. Thank you very much. Those of us, every single one of us who cheer for the Indians are hoping that you get through these next few weeks unscathed. The big question right now is, obviously, barring any unforeseen news that comes down the pike, you're going to get through hopefully region without any disruption or whatever, and ideally you're going to get into the playoffs, and you're going to get a run at the postseason. Big question right now is, how much football are you going to get to play this year with Lexington, as you said, affected, and Pelion affected? I mean, are you in the mindset now that those non-conference games are truly dispensable at this point? I mean, technically speaking, they are, but are you in the mindset of you may only be playing 5 football games this year?
That's a real possibility. I mean, we had 2 originally scheduled. We've rescheduled 1. We've kind of left the other one open here to kind of see what we could work out, possibly with maybe somebody close, just seeing how things shake out with all the week-to-week, day-to-day quarantines that's going on. But I think ultimately what's happening is, it seems like every day some other football program gets shut down, and they end up having to move their 2 region games to the end of where those 2 non-region are. So a lot of those non-region games are just simply disappearing for most folks. So it's going to be if we are fortunate enough to play our region on schedule and on time, to be honest, it's almost like it's no telling who we will be left standing to play one another that's been fortunate enough to not have to move region games. So we're scheduled to play Allendale Fairfax on the 6th, but just like me and that coach talked, it's hard to say whether that will happen or not. So it's just almost we'll take it one day, 1 week at a time and see. And I do know this: if we are fortunate enough to get those 5 region games in on schedule, I definitely do want to try to play those 2 non-region games against someone, because I feel like our kids deserve the opportunity to get to go out there and play on Friday night and do what they enjoy doing.
And it'll serve you more experience. Will serve you well in the postseason too.
Absolutely. I mean, if there was 2 weeks off, I mean, 1 bye week is okay, but 2 bye weeks, that's not good. So, I think we definitely want to try to find games for those 2 weeks if possible, and play them, and that'll keep us sharp for playoffs. And if playoffs aren't the issue, then I want 2 more chances for our kids to get to go out there and play football. So,
amen. Well, we'll take it week by week. I know you always take it week by week. We'll certainly, first and foremost is the kids' health, your health, the program's health. But we will certainly take it week by week, and I certainly hope we see a few more games than even 7 games this year. That's for sure. Let's take a pause. We'll come right back, and then we'll focus the spotlight on some other programs there at Gilbert High School. We'll do that when Gilbert America This Week returns.
Gilbert Coin Exchange, paying you top dollar for your coins, precious metals, and old jewelry. Named Lexington Life's best coin shop and best place to sell your scrap gold for the last 10 years. Don't forget, Gilbert Coin Exchange also sells coins, gold, and silver bullion. Proud sponsor of the Coins for A's program. Visit GilbertCoins.com online or stop in and see them at 4079 Augusta Highway in the Shops at Gilbert. Gilbert Coin Exchange, proud sponsor and supporter of Gilbert Athletics.
Back with Coach Chad Leaphart, Athletic Director Chad Leaphart at Gilbert High School. And, Coach, we talked about facing your program this week, Brookland-Cayce. Big matchup, big region implications this week, next, and beyond, obviously. Playoff implications. But what else is happening there at Gilbert America?
Well, we've had a big week already so far. Our girls golf claimed region championship on Monday. And then our girls tennis claimed region championship Tuesday. So, very proud of those girls and Coach Spires with the tennis team, Coach Nix with the golf team for doing what they do. They've been successful all season and looking forward to seeing them continue on into postseason play and that kind of thing. But great job for both of those programs.
Man, I mean, that's that really is. That's something to hang your hat on. What do they put in the water over there at Gilbert Summit Water and Sewer District? Apparently grows winners.
Well, I think the secret is I know a lot of folks have come out here for the first time in Gilbert and they look around and it's like, man, it's nothing out here. Now I see why y'all are so good in sports. So, I think OW coaches told us that a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, it's not the first time we've heard that. But, people out here are passionate about their sports. Everybody kind of knows about us with football, and a lot of folks know about the history of our baseball program that's done so well. But I think what you have out here is a lot of folks, they really passionate about athletics. And if it's girls golf, girls tennis, both doing well. But everything we have, the folks really put their all into it. And that's our kids and athletes and their parents helping them be where they need to be so they can develop and be the best they can be. We get great support there from our parents and then, and trying to have great coaches here. And I feel like we do. I'm very proud of all our coaches here that then take these athletes and try to, get the absolute best out of them and develop them further, whether it's golf or tennis or volleyball, which our volleyball program is doing great as well too. And
yes.
So it's it's a combination of things for sure, but it is a great place to be for athletics.
And I've known you long enough to know that you're not concerned just about wins and losses either. You're concerned about building good young men and women there at the program as well. And that goes into it too. Character plays a big role in ultimately finding success on the field of play.
Absolutely. We want our kids to be winners on the field, but we want them to be winners in life. And we do feel like that goes hand in hand. So we won't, I tell our players, we do life lessons every Wednesday, and we want those guys to be, good husbands and good fathers one day. And that's kind of an ultimate goal that we want with all our guys. And, so it goes beyond just, winning that contest on Friday night or a Tuesday night and things like that. We want good people. And we feel like we got a lot of good folks out here and a lot of good young people that's going to be leaders for us down the line.
Well, winners breed winners. Winners breed winners, my friend, and I'm excited to be a part of the equation this year. Steve Smith and I, and even your baseball coach even hit me up last week at the stadium and said,
Yep.
"Yeah, Coach Leaphart said if we treat you nice, you might be doing some baseball this year." I'm like, you don't have to twist my arm to come out and do some baseball broadcasting. So
yeah.
let's hope that we that for the most part we've got COVID a thing of the past by the time baseball season rolls around. But I'm loving it out there. We're enjoying it, and certainly looking forward to this big matchup on Friday night. Brookland-Cayce coming to town. It's going to be an electric environment, even with limited stadium capacity. Let's one more quick hit before we go. Everything's kind of changed and the way that folks can get access to Gilbert athletics, it's still a controlled environment.
Yes. The expectation is, folks still come wear a mask. We got the seating pods taped in our stadium where folks can sit together with family. It's the blue tape. So, sit on the blue tape. Our student section is separated out. They have X's. They sit on the blue X's. And so we've had to do those things to try to mitigate any risk. And, of course, there's limited limited capacity. So
I think by the time our show aired last week, you were sold out. So
we were.
That's the caveat. That's the caveat that we should mention is that by the time you hear this, there may not be tickets to be got. But anytime you want to see football in Gilbert, America, you got to get them in advance now.
Yep, and we've got a process we go through with our pre-sale tickets. Where our Friday night participants have access to 2 tickets each, and then we also offer some to our students because we feel like they deserve to be part of that Friday night experience. Our students here at GHS, so they get an allotment of tickets that they can purchase on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then we open up sale on Thursday for the general public. And last week, for instance, we opened up at 12 noon, and I think we had about 150 tickets that were left that we could sell with our capacity, and they were gone in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now, and it's great that we have that support. But it's sad that we can't get a ticket to everybody that wants it too. So that's kind of a tough situation for us out here because we do love our community and love our folks to come support us, and so it's awful hard to have to say things like, "Well, we're sold out," and turn people away.
Well, the energy was
hopefully those things change soon.
Well, the energy in that stadium last week, even with fragment and fractional capacity, it was no doubt an energetic place to watch football, and we're looking forward to being there Friday night for Brookland-Cayce at Gilbert. And folks who can't get a ticket, obviously we want to encourage them to listen to Carolina's Community Radio. Steve Smith and I'll be on there at 6 o'clock and giving live play-by-play coverage. And I haven't entirely ruled out putting a camera on the other side of my because I know that our friends over at Fox Creek last week they live streamed the game, and it was fun. Even though I watched the whole thing live, it was fun to go back and watch their YouTube channel and see the action in that way. So we certainly are going to do our part to through the magic of the spoken word, bring folks into the stadium as much as we possibly can. Coach, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Stay healthy out there, and we'll see you Friday night.
Thanks, Tony. Looking forward to it. All
right, that's got to do it for this edition of Gilbert America This Week. Stay tuned. We'll update you on our social media and on our website for anything that might change, God forbid, between now and Friday night. But we'll certainly – if we're playing football, we'll be there at Tomahawk Stadium, Steve Smith and me, and you can hear it right here on Carolina's Community Radio. Good night, everybody.
This has been a production of Carolina's Community Radio Sports. Join us tomorrow night for live Gilbert High School action right here on the Midland's home of news, weather, sports, and the rhythm of the South. Carolina's Community Radio.